Senpai, rough neighborhoods may be America's last advantage.
Just start by saying two things. Number one, let me just start by saying konnichiwa, Guru James Bond e yokoso. And let me secondarily say, I'm going to peel back the curtain here just instantly. This is the second recording we're doing today.
Yes.
We've done two in a row.
I have had 2 hours of sleep in the past 48.
I have had 3 white claws, and I have 3 more. So let's just get my first review of this movie out of the way with this.
Ohio gozaimasu.
Ohio
welcome
gozaimasu.
to Kill James Bond, charting all new vistas of racism.
Watashi wa Kill James Bond this. We have become fucking deranged, which is the perfect mindset to consume the Sean Connery Wesley Snipes film Rising Sun. Remember the name of it. Got there eventually.
And I'm only going to get worse.
Sean Connery, Wesley Snipes is just like two juggernauts colliding in my brain.
Right.
This film is
doesn't marry.
Incredible.
It's one of those things, right, where it's one of the movies that Sean Connery made when he reinvented his niche as old guy, because the money from Bond was not keeping him in the golf memberships to which he was accustomed. And so he just did a bunch of, like, sometimes quite good, sometimes very bad movies, like this, The Rock, Hunt for Red October.
The Rock, famous for inspiring the guys who made up the weapons of mass destruction to get us into Iraq.
That's
thanks for coming.
Right.
This movie can be at best summed up with the sentence from the title cards, which says, Executive Producer Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Just remember that.
This is a Sean Connery produced, Sean Connery starring film adapted from a novel by Michael Crichton. And if you don't know who Michael Crichton is, he made exactly.
It's fucked up that my go-to was the Andromeda Strain.
Wrote a lot of like easily adaptable to screen airport fiction.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, and Rising Sun, not one of his better works.
Apparently, the book is even more racist than the film.
Yes, it is.
By the way, that was true about the Iraq War, listener. You can look that up.
So, do you remember the 1990s?
No.
The period. It was a period in American history when anti-Japanese racism, which has been a feature of American history for as long as America has had a history, it took on a slightly different form, where instead of being like subversive Axis agents or differently offensive racial stereotypes, the figure of capital T, capital J, the Japanese in the white American popular imagination suddenly became we made them too good at economy, and now they're doing the stuff that it's.
There's definitely a point in the American psyche where, and you can see this in all like the cyberpunk shit that came out around this time as well, where they saw Japan and they were like, fuck, that's a good toaster. These guys are going to be in charge of the world in 20 years.
Yeah.
The currency of Cyberpunk 2077 is new yen.
We're doing this again now to a certain extent with China, but
yes.
I mean, not to spoil this too much, listeners, but this film is racist in the way that it portrays Japanese people as being like really, really good, like really efficient, really clever, really strong. And you might think that's a strange way to be racist, but the reason it is because the quote unquote success of the Japanese is a sign of white decline. That is the message that is being given here, is that the Japanese they're infiltrating and taking over because white America, and the white is in brackets, is declining.
That's
where it become
fucking
decadent.
right.
That Sean Connery has this line about where like we may come from a fragmented MTV rap video culture, but they do not. And it's like, okay, I'm pretty sure you've just encapsulated A, decline, and B, you've conveniently told us who you're blaming for that decline.
It's very fascist.
It's the same way in which particularly racist white gay people on Grindr will have things like black people only in their bio or something, in not knowing that fetishizing is very much the other side of the coin. Like it's very much the other side of the coin. It's like pretending that these people are extremely good because of their race is still racism.
Yeah, but also
No matter how you slice
the
it.
ways in which they're extremely good are also alien. Anyway,
Yeah.
right, we start in Los
Asian
Angeles,
noise. Asian noise.
1990s.
The
Asian noise.
first
That's like
fucking thing you hear when you start this movie is like, it might as well be like that fucking gong shit that you hear in like all sorts of fighting games. It's just Asian noise.
this has a more racist sound design than the Channel 4 game show Banzai did. It's fully
Jesus.
like will use like panpipes or like a flute for like Asian noises, and there are so many Asian noises. But we are about to get a sort of a
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I was imagining.
Just improvise my own drop.
So we are in Los Angeles,
Yeah, very good.
where we see a guy called Eddie, who is Japanese, singing karaoke to a white girl called Cheryl, and he is kind of being a possessive boyfriend to her. He's singing on karaoke "Don't Fence Me In," which is pretty fucking rich considering America's history with Japanese Americans. Anyway,
Yeah.
and then we
Oh,
cut to I know. We cut to the boardroom.
The other
where-
half of the boardroom discoteca do honor you.
Yes, where a Japanese corporation is trying to buy out, to merge with an American semiconductor manufacturer. Because this was the kind of thing that like people believed was happening all the time in the 90s, was Japan was buying up American industry. And so you have the Japanese executives down one side of the table with their sort of like, frankly, the movie presents him as a race traitor, white American guy who is like their fixer, and the American executives down the other.
And if you're thinking to yourself, man, that sounds like an extremely boring premise for
Yes.
your hot and sexy action thriller, you're thinking about that with a 2020 brain. Fucking go back 20 to 30 years and realize Japan's terrifying. So this is actually a really interesting backdrop.
Yeah, this is
It's not as
thrilling.
fucking
Do you
boring.
care about the ownership of semiconductor manufacturers?
You should.
You fucking should do.
It might put
fucking
American
should
weapons under Japanese control. And who would want a scenario in which American weapons are being misused?
The thing which is immediately established in this scene about this Japanese company is that they fucking cheat. That's the first thing we learn about them. They have hidden cameras in the boardroom, which they are using to surveil the opposite side. And so whenever they're like talking to each other, they will just deploy their American guy over to their side to go and win people round.
That's true. And they have like these special security cameras that can zoom in and hear what the opponents are saying. And there's a guy relaying that back. Stop playing that noise. Or play it like 80 to 90 more times. Like
That was
either
me.
way
That was
is
just
good.
my mouth. I was just saying, ooh, because it can zoom in.
Yeah,
No.
this will be a plot point later, is that like Japanese camera technology is extremely advanced.
Miles ahead of anything we've got.
Exactly. And this is like a serious threat. Anyway,
There was a brief period where American businessmen's children were learning Japanese at school because they thought that the world would be under Japanese control in like 20 to 30 years.
still doing it with Mandarin now. Fucking, yep.
Yeah, except they're right
And
this
now
time.
those kids, they're all trans because they got into anime. That's how it works. I've read Quillette.
That is actually, yeah, that is true, to be fair.
That's what happened to us, baby. That's how it starts.
We've established I have never seen anime. Lupin the Third Part 1 is the first anime I have ever seen.